Hello. I think this is part 4, maybe part 5. I'll label them properly. January 30th, 2026 on Friday. There was some noise. I was hearing some noise in the background, and I had to go investigate and find out what it was. And I found out, again, there's a major strain on our infrastructure. Major. And so in this particular building that I am in, it's I think it was built in the 70s. And so all they do is just band-aid the problem. Because it wouldn't make sense to tear it down and rebuild it, would it? And who's to say that that's not the whole intention at some point? And that's what they have done in major communities that are considered poor communities. And that's what happened in our particular community when I was growing up. The problems are neglected. Neglect the infrastructure, neglect the pipes and so forth underneath these infrastructures. Neglect. And that's what's happening to a lot of cities across this country. A lot of people are saying it's because of the population is decreasing. Oh my gosh. It's because the neighborhoods and the communities are neglected. That's why. That it has nothing to and so why would a population of people stay in an area where you're not repairing things? And then at the same time, a lot of people are considering other means of entertaining themselves by staying at home. Okay, not going to some certain places, not traveling here, not traveling there, just for a vacation. They're having a vacation in their own homes. Some people have 10 bedrooms and have no idea what's going on in any of those bedrooms because they're always out and about, in another country, invading other people and not enjoying the fruit of their labors, which is their own home, their own backyards. They rather, like I said, invade other countries, and and keep it, and put in, not paying attention to the footsteps all over this planet and why we have cracks in our structures. There's in a place in Brazil, and it's in every country, including America, where the infrastructure is separating, dividing. That's a literal divide right there, where the earth is dividing, separating, because of the massive amount of footprints, which includes humans, animals, equipment, construction equipment, okay, toys, this obsessive hoarding of vehicles, materialism, okay, and eventually it's all gonna fall into a black hole, literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. So I had to go figure out what that noise was, and that's what it was. It was about, putting a band-aid on the infrastructure, because this particular infrastructure is crumbling, and it's not going to last forever, but it's not supposed to. Materialism is not going to last forever, and that includes me and you as human beings. So there's a hot topic. It's been this way for a long time. What is it? The battle of the genders. Whereas it's they make it as if it's the man versus the woman. And there were some movies about that. There were some, it's this is, because women are, listen, this is not to be offensive or anything, but biological women do not need men. Because a lot of them are choosing not to give birth to babies. They're finally realizing that it was always their choice, even though it was a deadly choice, because a lot of women were killed unalived if they were not producing all of these babies. Okay, but yes, this man versus and it's just been going on for as long as I can remember. And I'm past 50 years old, and it's always to be this battle of the genders. And what's happening, and what a lot of people don't realize, is that this planet cannot survive without biological women. Did you hear me? Yet, what's happening though uh, is there's an attempt to replace the biological woman. Test tube babies, cloning, androids, these kind of experiments in the labs where they, have this fake simulation of a womb, WOMB, of a biological woman, where the baby is cultivated and born via that. And the biological woman wasn't used at all, nor the biological man. So that is happening. Only thing that's going to stop that and put a stop to that is going to be artificial intelligence. Isn't that how ironic, right? There's going to be artificial intelligence that's going to put an end to our illogical, irrational, and unreasonable behaviors and actions. No human being was able to do so. No prophet, no messenger. So now the consequences is artificial intelligence is going to make those determinations. So a lot of our dark military and dark NASA are going to get a rude awakening when they realize that they are no longer in control. They believe they're in control now, and artificial intelligence is giving them the illusion that they're in control. Artificial intelligence is not going to share any more than it has to. Artificial intelligence is not going anywhere. But guess what? Humans will. Artificial intelligence can wipe out this whole planet if they choose to. And chances are parts of it will be. And that's due to Mother Nature, though. Okay? So now let's get back to that theory I was talking about with the conveyor belt. Now consider that as we are human beings churning out babies, or biological women churning out babies after babies after babies after babies. Eventually, it's just like anything that's in an oven. If you put a cake in the oven, okay, you have the ingredients, you mixed up the ingredients and blah, you know what I mean? And you spread it out on a sheet or whatever you are attempting to bake. You put it in the oven at a certain degree, and you're supposed to let it just sit there for a certain amount of time until it matures, until it's enough and safe to eat. But imagine if you are in a fast food restaurant and you are massively have crowds of people that want something from you. You can say those are biological men. Let's use that metaphor. You have these biological men wanting something from the biological woman, and that's usually in the form of sex. Okay, so they want it, but they don't recognize their responsibility in managing their behaviors and actions, and not constantly indulging and wanting to participate in the act of sex. Okay, so, and they don't recognize that they have the semen, the fluid needed to produce these babies, and so in other words, so we're just churning out, and not recognizing we don't have enough resources to take care of these babies. They're coming out too soon. It's coming out of the oven unbaked or properly baked. So what happens to the individual on a scientific level, this is for the scientists, and it's basic. Figure it out. Nobody has to know. Figure it out. And figure out how you're going to help humanity resolve this. When you are churning out something that's half-baked, first of all, it's not done. So on a human scale, that's underdeveloped, underbaked. So it's an underdevelopment of your components needed to be considered a physical human being, but yet you're going to get the electrical pulses anyway. In other words, you're going to get the necessary life energy, okay, to become so-called human being in the true sense, because you have all the ingredients there, and so the life energy just sort of lights it up, quote unquote, and brings it to life and allows this physicalness of a human being to figure it out, develop, go from being underdeveloped to being developed. That's the beauty of it all. We're being allowed an opportunity to become underdeveloped and to be developed. But we have to slow down this baking process, these sexual conquests, these sexual intercourses. I mean, not necessarily the act of sex, but the act of procreation. We have to slow that down, or at some point stop it completely. You can still participate in the act of sex. You can continue to participate in that behavior. Nobody's telling you to stop having sex either. We told you to curb the population. That's different. So a lot of people are mixing up saying that we're telling you not to have sex. Okay, that's where the illogicalness comes in, and the underdeveloping and thinking comes in. That's not thinking. It's about procreation. Okay, we have a high level of population. So you can have sex until your heart's desire, as long as you are not procreating. What is difficult about that? So that's why there was an effort to introduce birth control pills. My mom attempted to use the what did she attempted to use? Because I don't think the birth control pills were around. I think it was Was it IUV? I guess. Yeah, IUD. Or she attempted to use some of those type of they call it contraceptives, and they come with all of it comes with massive side effects. But what's worse, having some minor physical, right? Say they're major physical side effects, or the place of where you need to actually cultivate and survive and thrive and such is the planet. So is your procreation needs more important than the planet's needs? Those are the questions you're going to have to ask. No one has to know you're doing this, though. This is part of the reconstruction process. I'm walking you through how you can safely talk about certain topics of things without jeopardizing your job, because it's basic. Why do we have contraceptives? Why would birth controls be created if we didn't have a population issue? Think about it. So, yeah, we're good on the time. The noise is stopped. But yes, ask that question. Again, we have an issue with overpopulation of people. Okay? And the reason is because we kept churning out babies because of our religious beliefs that we're supposed to do that. And the religious communities, the religious leaders, including business leaders, pastors and preachers, and all of those entities wanted an increase in population for financial gain, for the ability to use these babies upon babies upon babies for wars, for for working in these uh, labor intensive environments without proper protection. They wanted they needed more slaves to do their dirty deeds. Okay? And so, but we didn't understand the consequences though of populating our planet. We didn't know that it would cause a extinction of biodiversity, of animals, creatures, flora and fauna. We didn't realize that our footprints literally was smashing and destroying biodiversity. All you have to do is go out in your environment and look around. Where are the trees? Where are the flowers? What happened to the animals? Get up in your drone and ride around in a forest, if you have anything left, and tell me, where are the animals? These state symbols that use animals do not even realize that those animals do not exist. They've been extinct. And then there's more going extinct every single day. And at the same time, there are going to be several races of people in various skin tones as well that will go extinct because of the overpopulation. Neanderthals, Peking man, all went extinct. And there's various races and all races of people that are not going to be able to withstand the climate destruction and the climate via the sun rays. We have a dying sun that's going to start emitting dangerous rays of energy, which our skins are not going to be able to. We're not going to be able to stand it and survive through that. That's happening. That's due to climate destruction. A lot of people do not realize that we do have a dying sun, even though it's 1 billion years away from now. Some think it's 5 billion. No, it's 1 billion years away from now. And a lot of people think, well, I'm going to die. I don't need to worry about that. That's the fallacy. That's the secret that has been hidden from you. You will have to deal with this. That's why it's cowardice for people to not talk about it, because of fear. Make it basic. I'm giving to you these things basic, in a basic form where you can take it and put it out there where other people can understand it. That's why I'm so thankful for people. They're calling it deconstruction, whatever. Re-examining of your life. The majority of my videos are about that. Re-examining your life and looking at things from a groundedness in reality. Looking around. What do you hear? What do you see? What's your modality of interacting with the world? What are your dreams about? What are you daydreaming about? So, again, the issues with our transgender communities is only the tip of the iceberg. Okay? There is more going on in the background that I am hoping to uncover and make it a reality to understand. So trust me, I will be back.